Chapter 5, Troubles with a Penguin. The next day was quite eventful at 432 Proudfoot Avenue. First, there was the serviceman, and then the policeman, and then the trouble about the license. Captain Cook was in the children's room, watching Janie and Bill put together a jigsaw puzzle on the floor. He was very good about not disturbing the pieces after Bill had spanked him for eating one. He did not hear the refrigerator serviceman come to the back door. Miss Popper had gone to the marketing for canned shrimps for the penguin, so that Mr. Popper was alone in the kitchen to explain to the serviceman what he wanted done to the refrigerator. The serviceman put his tool bag down on the kitchen floor, looked at the refrigerator, and then at Mr. Popper, then at the refrigerator, then at Mr. Popper, and then at Mr. Popper, who, to tell the truth, had not shaved yet and was very, very untidy. "Mister," he said, "you don't need no ventilating holes in that door. It's my icebox, and I want some holes bored in the door," said Mr. Popper. They argued about it for quite a while. Mr. Popper knew that to get the serviceman to do what he wanted, all he had to do was explain that he was going to keep a live penguin in the icebox, and that he wanted his pet to have plenty of fresh air, even though the door was closed all night. He felt a little stubborn about explaining however. He felt a little stubborn about explaining, however. He didn't want to discuss Captain Cook with his unsympathetic serviceman, who was already staring at Mr. Popper, as if he thought Mr. Popper was not quite right in his head. "Come on, do what I said Mr. Popper. I'm paying you for it." "With what?" asked the serviceman. Mr. Popper gave him a $5 bill. It made him a little sad to think how many beans it would have bought for Miss Popper and the children. This serviceman examined the bill carefully, as if he didn't trust Mr. Popper too much. But at last he put it in his pocket, took a drill from his tool bag, and made 5 small holes in a neat pattern on the refrigerator door. "Now," said Mr. Popper, "don't get up. Wait a minute. There's one more thing." "Now what?" said the serviceman. "I suppose now you want me to take the door off its hinges to let in a little more air? Or do you want me to make a radio set out of your icebox?" "Don't get funny," said Mr. Popper. "That is no way to talk. Believe it or not, I know what I'm doing. I mean, having you do. I want you to fix an extra handle on the inside of the icebox so that it can be opened from inside of the box." "That," said the serviceman, "is a fine idea. You want an extra handle on the inside?" Sure. He picked up his tool bag. Aren't you going to do it for me?" asked Mr. Popper. "Oh, sure," said the serviceman, edging toward the back door. Mr. Popper saw that for all his words of agreement, the serviceman had no intention of putting on an inside handle. "I thought you were a serviceman," he said. "I am." "That's the first sensible thing you've said. You're a fine kind of serviceman. If you don't even know how to put an extra handle on the inside of the box door." Oh, I don't I? Don't think I don't know how. As far as that goes, I've even got a spare handle in my tool bag and plenty of screws. You needn't think I don't know how to do it. If I wanted to. Mr. Popper silently reached into his pocket and gave the serviceman his last $5 bill. He was pretty sure that Miss Popper would be annoyed at him for spending all that money, but it could not be helped. Mister, said the first serviceman, you win. I'll fix your extra handle. And while I'm doing it, you sit down on that chair over there facing me, where I can keep an eye on you. Fair enough, said Mr. Popper, sitting down. The serviceman was still on the floor, putting in the final screws that held the new handle in place. When the penguin came out to the kitchen on his silent pink feet, surprised at seeing a strange man sitting on the floor, Captain Cook quietly walked over and began to pet him curiously. But the serviceman was even more surprised than Captain Cook. Ork, said the penguin, or perhaps it was the serviceman. Mr. Popper was not sure just what had happened.